Hello, lads. I want to talk today briefly about a show that I've seen recently on Netflix that has intrigued me in many ways. And I just wanted to reflect upon it. And I don't know what it could mean, what it could signify. The show is called A Girl and an Astronaut. That's the translation. It's I don't know what the original title reads, in Polish. I remember talking about that Holobeck book, which was titled Whatever, and the title in French actually translated to something much more ungainly than that. But I guess they decided to just chuck the original title and go with Whatever for whatever reason. This is called A Girl and an Astronaut. It's set both in the present and 30 years into the future. And it's interesting that I've seen a couple of features lately which have that same feature where they're partly set in the present with all the trappings of the present, and then partly set in 20 or 30 years into the future where things are noticeably more dystopian than they are today. Now, maybe I'll talk about a couple of those other things that I've seen recently as well that have that follow that same pattern. But it's interesting to remark upon it here in regard to this particular show. I guess it is. It has one season. I don't know if there are going to be more. I haven't finished watching the first season. It's not what I would call a great show. It's kind of on the melodramatic side. There's some gratuitous nudity. There's some gratuitous sex. Like stuff that doesn't really need to be there. That's what gratuitous means, of course. But it's got, I would say it kind of has the feeling of being kind of a product in some ways more than art per se. But it's still interesting in a lot of ways. One of the storylines involves a group of flyboys, a group of pilots who are in the Polish army, or the Polish Air Force, I guess. I didn't even know there was such a thing. And I'm Polish, but look at the t-shirt that I'm wearing. I'm obviously a traitor to my race. But that's complicated. Anyhow, so it's about partly about a group of hotshot pilots. They're all extremely good-looking guys, like in their mid-20s. They're all white. The military is exclusively male, as portrayed here on this show. So there are a lot of things about this that are just a throwback, to stuff that you would never see in an American produced show today. The pilots would be there'd be a lot of women pilots as well. Probably one or two of them would be gay, and all that kind of thing. Here they're straight white guys, good-looking guys, and it's very much a ripoff of Top Gun. I mean, it's totally Polish Top Gun, but like even more based Top Gun than Top Gun Maverick was, as I understand it. I never saw Top Gun Maverick. I'm just not that interested in the product. I'm glad that I've heard a lot of good things about it. I've heard that it's not woke, and I'm happy for that. But this show and its presentation of this group of pilots is even more non-woke, because I think that like a couple of the pilots are minorities now, and there's a girl pilot or two who are in Tom Cruise's squadron, Mavericks squadron of pilots. But these guys, all white, all male, and very, very masculine. But they look like male models too. So there's that whole thing going on. So that's a part of the show, but then there's another part, like a science fiction aspect of it, where one of these pilots is going to be chosen to be an astronaut who will take part in some dangerous mission. But they're all chomping at the bit for it. They all want it. That's their personality. They're hard driving guys. They work hard. They party hard. Again, it's a little cliche. So the two of the guys who are vying for the role to become this astronaut are both like the same girl, and so there's this love triangle thing going on, and so one of the guys ends up being chosen for this role, this pilot's role, and then something bad happens, and they think that he's dead, but in fact he comes back 30 years later, completely preserved, not having aged one bit. Now, there's some weird politics that are getting involved as well, because I guess the organization which is in charge of taking these pilots and making one of them into an astronaut, I think it's a Russian-based organization. And there's lots of stuff about Russia, lots of stuff about in this on the show, and being a Polish-made show, Russia's Russia are kind of the bad guys. So, but I don't really know what to say about it yet, except to say that it's just really interesting just to see how American pop culture gets recycled in certain ways, but then these certain cultures are eager to strain out the woke strain that's happening today, and because in this show there's no gay plot, there's no feminist plot, there's no woman saying I should be part of the military too, why aren't you accepting me? There's no G.I. Jane kind of figure. The girls that are in it are all pretty party girls who party with these good looking guys, or who are their sisters, or sister of one is also the boyfriend of another, and so again the show kind of takes American pop culture and strains out all of the stuff that makes American pop culture so today so insufferable. And it's a throwback in so many ways. I mean, I guess because Poland is a much more monocultural society, but in America, not too long ago, the default was to cast white, because I don't know, something like 80% of America was white in the past, and it was just sort of, have a bunch of white people in it, and that's what we're going to go for. Totally white family, no mixed race families for your sitcoms. Look, any sitcom in the 80s, even into the 90s, 70s, excepting I guess the Jeffersons, where they had the one mixed race couple, where it's a white guy with a black woman. But other than that, you don't have anything along those lines. The action shows, yeah, sometimes there were, or action movies, sometimes there were buddy movies where it was a black guy with a white guy, like 48 Hours or Lethal Weapon or what have you. There was that formula going, but for the most part, it was just white. It was a white thing. And the movie stars, the action heroes were generally white guys. A couple of black guys came along eventually, like Wesley Snipes and whoever else. But it's interesting to see them take these kind of conventions and I don't know, purify them. I don't have any problem with minority casting, but I do have a problem with there being something wrong with non-minority casting, right? I think it should be okay to have a racially diverse cast in something if that's what's appropriate. It should be okay to have a non-diverse cast be in something if that's what's appropriate. And certainly, in the 70s and 80s, and definitely earlier than that, America was generally considered a white country. So I don't know. That's just something to keep in mind. I don't know if anybody else has seen this show or has anything to say about it. Any commentary would be welcome below. But thanks for watching. This is just sort of sharing my thoughts on this particular show. So thanks for hearing me out. Talk to y'all soon.